Hi, I'm Craig Hansen. I'm a longtime resident of Stillwater and a longtime supporter of the Stillwater Public Library. I've served as a trustee on the board for the library, and as my family grew up here, we used the library a lot. A library is kind of a unique institution in a way. It's not a warehouse for books. It's the center of a community's culture. It's a place where anyone, no matter who they are, what age, whatever they're like, they can work on their own plan of self-improvement, access information, entertainment, and it's all for free. It's a wonderful institution for any community to have, and we're so fortunate to have the Stillwater Public Library. In a second, I'll be performing a song, but I just wanted to say welcome and please support the library. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Coette.
We're going to do a song that I wrote called Sung for Kay. Wish I could see the shine in your eyes. Wish I could see that light. Wish I could be the song that you sing when you're awake at night. Wish I could be the path that you walk when leaves are starting to fall. Wish I could be the sun in the sky so I could see it all. I wish I could be something more than what I suppose I am. Wish I could rebuild this land and hand it back to you again. Wish I could be one of those who never waste their time. But most of all, what I wish is to keep you by my side. Wish that I could be a cold no-show stream, the music of water and song. Wish that I could be the storm in the sky that makes you glad you're home. Wish I could be that nighttime campfire. Wish I could be there all night. Wish I could be a canoe on a lake, the way it softly glides. Wish I could be something more than what I suppose I am. Wish I could rebuild this land and hand it back to you again. Wish I could be one of those who never waste their time. Most of all, what I wish is to keep you by my side. Wish I could be a book on a shelf, that one that you wanted to read. Wish I could be the morning mist, the way it winds through the trees. Wish I could see the shine in your eyes. Wish I could see that light. Maybe this will be the song you sing when you're awake at night. When you're awake at night, I'll keep you warm at night.
Hello, and welcome to For the Love of the Library, benefiting the Stillwater Public Library. My name is Rich Sommer. I'm a proud native of Stillwater, and I grew up spending as much time as I could in the Stillwater Public Library. As you may know, the Stillwater Public Library serves the community on a fairly restricted budget, and it depends a lot on the generosity of its patrons. Obviously, the events of this year made it so that the library couldn't host its biggest annual fundraiser, the Light a Spark 4th of July event. I was there last year. It was amazing. I was sad to hear it couldn't happen this year. So a few of us decided to help organize tonight's festivities in hopes of helping the library continue as normally as possible. Tonight will be different from any event the library's ever hosted, but I'm pretty sure it'll be a night to remember. We will see a magic show, we'll hear some amazing music from local musicians, and we'll enjoy some trivia brought to you by some very special guests. Now, please join me in welcoming your host for the evening, one of my favorite Minnesotans, Lee Valsvik.
Thank you very much, Rich, and hi, everybody. What a wonderful opportunity is to be working with Rich again to support the Stillwater Public Library Foundation. I want to thank Craig Hansen and Carol Coet. That was awesome for starting the evening off with that beautiful song. Thank you so much. Some of you may recognize Craig, who lives right here in Stillwater. Craig recently retired as the Dean of College of Liberal Arts at Metropolitan State University in St. Paul. Craig also served as a Stillwater Public Library trustee and is an author of several books and an active musician. Before the pandemic, Craig performed regularly with Cattail Moon, an acoustic band playing bluegrass, and an Irish band also, the Morticians. So I love to thank them. That was awesome. And thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate the Stillwater Public Library Foundation at the For the Love of the Library virtual event. Isn't this different? And it's kind of fun too. We're having a great time. We're gonna have a great time tonight. I'm Lee Valsvik from Cool 108 and Care 11, and I'm honored to be co-hosting tonight For the Love of the Library with Rich Sommer this evening. Rich, when he was a little boy, loves radio, but he called me up one time when I was on KDWB doing the morning show with Steve Cochran. He says, "Can I come in and watch you do the radio show?" So his mom would drive him all the way over to Minneapolis, and Rich used to sit with me as a little kid and watch us do radio. And now look at him out in Los Angeles, big movie star and TV star. So it's really fun to have Rich joining us again, supporting the Stillwater Public Library. Tonight will be an evening not to miss. We have magic, we have more music, we have trivia, history with Lorna Landvik. I can't wait for that. A special insight interview with Rich and an amazing lineup of special guests. You won't believe who you're going to see on this show tonight. We will also get to hear from library patrons and staff as they share their library stories. And if you did not visit the Kids Zone on our site when you checked in, you'll have an opportunity to do that after the program. Matter of fact, if your kids are on another computer, they can go there right now to check out the science experiments with 3M visiting wizard Jeffrey Payne. And the 3M visiting wizards is just one example of the type of programming the foundation has been able to fund with your support. And we hope to continue to do that. Okay, we also would love for you to take part in trivia tonight. Here's how this is going to work. Save your answers. You'll see some trivia questions and meet some very special people. Save your answers, and we'll put up the correct answers at the end of the show so you can see how you did. Share your answer or take a picture during our program and post them on social media with the hashtag Stillwater Library Foundation. Okay, hashtag Stillwater Library Foundation and or SPLFFLL. And by doing this, you will help raise awareness about the foundation, help increase the impact to the Stillwater Public Library, and share with everyone the fun we are having here tonight. So please do that. Hashtag Stillwater Public Library. You will also be able to give throughout the program by texting SPLF to 56651. There it is, SPLF 56651. Now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge all those sponsors and donors who are helping us enhance the materials, programs, services, historic renovation of the beautiful Stillwater Public Library. These sponsors play a significant role in allowing the foundation to continue its mission to engage the community and its resources to expand the reach and impact of the library. We'd like to start with a special thank you to our author level and founding sponsor, the Hulsman Foundation, in memory of Dick Hulsman. We would also like to give special recognition to our other sponsors, including, here's our publisher level sponsors, Doug Blonke, Pat and Jane Thiel, and Steve and Ann Wolf. Thank you very much. Our editor level sponsors, First State Bank and Trust, South Hill Dental Group. Thank you to Valley Access Cable TV, Friends of Stillwater Public Library, Deborah and Dave Duzick, Sue and John Gray, Linda Long, thank you, Fred Rengel, Summer Seidenkrantz, and Clark Schroeder. And our book designer level sponsors, we have Group Leaf LLC, Maureen Bell, Spike and Kat Carlson, Amber Daly Herbert, and Keith Herbert. Also, Mark and Jan Debe, Tom and Carrie Gettle, Paul and Doug Heemer, Cameron McConnell, thank you so much, Mary and Matt Ritchie, and Mark and Mary Trundle. We also have our publicist level sponsors. All these people are doing such wonderful work helping us support the Stillwater Public Library. Isn't that great? Thank you so much for all these great sponsors. We have some special guests talking about the library and what it means to them throughout the night. And we'll have the opportunity to hear from them throughout the event. And let's begin with our first library story from the Anderson family, who are patrons of the library.
Hi, I'm Jurgen.
Do you have
The books.
books?
I'm Elsie, and I like coming here looking for books, and I really like the librarians too.
I'm Carrie, and as a home educating mother, the library is a lifeline for me to have all of these resources available to us. I don't think I could do it without a good library system.
I'm Marta, and I really like horses, so I like going through the horse section and clearing it out.
And I'm Steve, and I just so much appreciate just the variety of resources we have here. I love learning, and I know when I have interest in something and I want to learn more, I can come to the library and find a book. And just so thankful to have our library system, and in particular the Stillwater Library here. Yeah.
We use the curbside probably every week, and
If not twice a week.
stacks of books coming to us, so it really kept us going and kept our morale up.
My experience too, it just seems to be far in advance of other library systems, so it's been very, very appreciated.
I've known Lori since I was 9, and I've just always appreciated how friendly a place she makes this, and how she knew my name when I was little and obviously still does, and she knows my kids, and I just really appreciate that they're there working for us.
Extremely important, yeah. It's so important to have these resources accessible that people can use to learn how to do different things.
There's a line from, I believe the book is Songs of Willow Frost, where the main character says, libraries are like a candy store where everything is free. And I was like, oh, I love that, because it is, and that's how I want my kids to see it. Like, these are your books, but we just keep them here, and we just really, really like it a lot.
Have seen different libraries all over the country and world, and I really am just amazed at what a strong system we do have here. And
I had to write a research paper once, so I chose to do it about Andrew Carnegie. So I thought it was cool that the library was built by him. I'm Jurgen, and I like the library because I really like the books. They're really good books, and I like the librarians. My name is Elsie, and I just like coming to the library to get books. I'm Marta, and you can find like any book you want almost, or on any subject. And the librarians are really nice, so I really like coming.
Hi, I'm Steve. My library story. I love learning and love coming to the library to find books to learn about different subjects and learn how to do different things.
I'm Carrie. My library story is that I also love books and learning and have a goal of raising lifelong learners, and I'm thankful for my library.
Isn't that cool? I love that. The whole family talking about their love for the Stillwater Public Library. And I too went to the horse section all the time and the sports section. I'll tell you more about that. But right now, get a pen and piece of paper ready because we're going to start with some trivia questions. We'll do these throughout the evening. So here's our first questions for tonight.
Hey, Stillwater Public Library. I'm Ty Burrell, and I have a question for you. In which year did construction begin on the current Stillwater Library building? Was it A, 1862, B, 1902, C, 1955, or D, 1982? Good luck.
Oh, hello. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mayor Ted Kozlowski, Mayor of Stillwater, and you just caught me while I was reading A Splintered History of Wood by my favorite local author, Spike Carlson. I've got a question for you this evening. When did the Stillwater Public Library first allow patrons to check out Wi-Fi hotspots? Was it answer A in 2015, answer B in 2007, answer C in 1999, or answer D in 2020?
How about that? Phil from Modern Family, Ty Burrell, and Mayor Ted supporting the Stillwater Public Library. That is so much fun. And we have more special guests coming up. Many of us here tonight joined together because we all have a library story like the Anderson family. My story is I grew up as a little kid on 3rd Street, dead end 3rd, right up the hill. My trip to the library was real fast on my bike because it was downhill. It took me forever to get back home. But I can close my eyes today and still see that room downstairs where all the kids' books were. And I would get the horse books. I would get sports. I remember finding a book about Harmon Killebrew, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the whole world. And then when my kids were little, after the expansion, they went and we did story time and puppet theater and so many fun things to do at the Stillwater Public Library. But it was so cool living in the neighborhood right up the street there on 3rd Street. So many good memories too. Although all of our reasons to support the Stillwater Public Library are different and unique, we all share a love for the library and our experiences with it. So tonight, we welcome Lorna Landvik, author, entertainer, and antique dealer. Lorna is author of 12 novels, her most recent being Chronicles of a Radical Hag with Recipes. Also a playwright and actor. She has appeared on many stages, and her all improvised one-woman show Party in the Rec Room is a local legend. Tonight, Lorna entertains us through wonderful stories from patrons past and present who share our love of the library and introduces us to the beginning of the library, whose original building was completed in 1902.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorna Landvik. I am thrilled to be with you tonight, helping to celebrate this beautiful Stillwater Public Library. Now, here's a fun fact. Bing Crosby's mother, Katie Harrigan Crosby, was born in Stillwater, and she lived there until she was 9 years old. While the Carnegie Library was built on land provided by her family, she had moved away before its actual opening in 1903. Still, it's not hard to imagine that many of her friends and associates became patrons of the library. So why don't we take a look into the past and meet some of the people who have benefited from having a Stillwater Library card. 1903. My name is Priscilla. My brother calls me Pris, but you better not. I'm 8 years old, and the very first time that I stepped into our library, my very first thought was, well, this is just a bee's knees. My very first book I checked out was Treasure Island, and that's what I think of every single book I check out. It is my own private treasure. Right now, I'm reading Call of the Wild by Jack London, and you can bet that I'm going to be the first lady explorer to go with a sled team all the way up to Alaska and beyond. My brother thinks I'm joking, but I'll be the one laughing when I mail him a postcard from the Yukon. 1925. Yes, I'm a flapper, but the fact that I can do the Charleston like nobody's business, and that I like a little hooch now and then, doesn't mean that I'm not a big reader. Whenever my favorite speakeasy on Myrtle Street gets raided, why, I'll slip out the back door into my room at Ma's boarding house on Main Street. There I'll calm down with my little flask of rye whiskey, a glycerin bubble bath, and a library book. Right now I'm reading Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence, because I like to be taken into worlds other than my own. 1935. Name's Jeff, and like a lot of people, I've fallen on hard times. But fortunately, it doesn't cost a nickel, not that I have one, to use the library. I come here in the morning to read the papers, especially the help wanted ads, even though they're pretty slim pickings these days. And then I write letters to potential employers. Good luck, right? And then to lift my spirits, I read poetry. Here's something from New Hampshire, the latest Robert Frost anthology. It's called Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. 1946. My fiance and I met in this very library. Jerry had just come home from the war, and I had just graduated high school. He asked me, using a polite, quiet voice, where he could find a book on veterinary medicine. He's going to the U on the GI Bill. And I explained while I wasn't a librarian, I was flattered because I was planning to go to college to get a degree in library science. Well, he asked me what sort of book a prospective librarian reads, and I showed him the one I had taken off the shelf, Main Street by Sinclair Lewis. And he said, Sinclair Lewis is one of my favorite writers. Well, that started a conversation about books, and that led to a walk along the river, and that led to a date later that night. We'll be marrying in 2 weeks, and we'll be honeymooning at the Lowell Inn. In the 1950s, in how many corners of the libraries were kids sniffling and wiping away tears as they finished reading Charlotte's Web, who didn't hear their mother's, "It's time to go home," because they were lost in the world of Narnia or in a little house on the prairie? In the 1960s, how many of those now teenaged kids went to the reference shelf and took down the World Book Encyclopedia, volume U through V, to read about a place called Vietnam? How many gave book reports on the feminine mystique or Silent Spring? In the 1970s, the pillow talk of a young couple who liked to read, she during the baby's nap time, he during his lunch breaks, might have been about the books they'd checked out. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, The Bluest Eye, The Right Stuff, The Grass is Always Greener Over the Septic Tank. In the 1980s, a grandfather might wonder how James Michener finds the time to write such big historical novels, let alone he himself is going to find the time to get through the latest one. And his granddaughter might wonder how Stephen King finds the time to write such big, scary horror novels, and how she's ever going to find the time to read the latest one. Both have substantial overdue fines. In the 1990s, a brother might recommend to his sister, "See, I Told You" by Rush Limbaugh, and she in turn might recommend Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Now I've gone back in time a little too far. Now that we're in 2020, we're living in a world that those who entered the Stillwater Library all those decades ago wouldn't recognize. But as we change and adapt, one thing remains constant: our love of story, our need to discover, to learn, to laugh, to cry, to be inspired. And public libraries have adapted, offering their great wealth of knowledge on the screen or on the page. From its very beginnings over 100 years ago, the Stillwater Public Library has adapted. While preserving its historic origins, 2 renovations have made it bigger and better. You know, it's quite feasible that the very young Katie Harrigan joined in furious snowball fights on the land on which the Stillwater Library now stands. Imagine that girl would grow up to be the mother of a man who sang the most popular recording of all time, a song that had him dreaming about a white Christmas, a man whose biographies can be found in the shelves of the very library her family helped build. Imagine. And isn't that what libraries help us do? Good night.
Andrew Carnegie was a self-made man of vision, always looking to better himself through hard work and perseverance. Escaping dire poverty in Scotland, his family immigrated to America, where he worked 12 hours a day in a cotton mill. By late 19th century, Carnegie's hard work and shrewd investments in railroads and the steel industry enabled him to amass a considerable fortune. Self-educated, he supported the building of 2,500 free public libraries worldwide, so others could teach themselves.
He was absolutely dedicated during his life to try and make sure that as many people as possible got the kind of education through libraries or through schools that in some cases he had missed.
His goal for the corporation, one of the last institutions he founded, was to do real and permanent good in this world by awarding grants and investing in nonprofit ventures that would advance society.
He felt passionately about the ability to make this country a better place, and I think that he reflected that in action. He wanted to give back, and he certainly did. It's quite remarkable.
Carnegie Corporation is the extension of imagination of Andrew Carnegie, a great philanthropist, and hence we're being given 2 missions. One is education at all levels, and the other is international peace and security.
Oh man, that library deck and that outside area just looks so nice right now. I wish we were all at the library celebrating tonight, but here we are. And we're going to continue. By the way, Lorna, she's amazing, isn't she good? And the Andrew Carnegie stuff is just amazing to hear about, and all those beautiful libraries all across the country. Okay, we have another My Library story. This time it's Mark Trundle, director of the Stillwater Public Library. Mark?
Well, helping the community is really what we're all about. And we shifted rapidly. The last day that we were fully open as normal was March 16th. And I believe it was within about a week we were able to move toward curbside delivery. And we also shifted our in-person programming to virtual online programming. I think the vast majority of the community understands that we're living in unique times, and we really need to protect the safety of our staff. Our staff is our most important asset, and we're also protecting our patrons as well. We're still providing services, we're just doing it in a different way. An amazing community of collaborative people, staff, trustees, city government, and boosters like the Friends and the Foundation. They really make it worthwhile. They care about the library, they care about the work that we do, and they're just top-notch people. In a span of a dozen years, the Library Foundation has provided more than $900,000 to enhance the library's work of offering a larger collection of materials. They also support programs that involve building literacy skills, financial skills, and other life-enriching skills. Biggest need, though, revolves around our most important asset, our people. We're a lean organization in terms of staffing. Together we make it work, but it would be less of a struggle with more help. And fortunately, the Library Foundation supports a 12-hour-a-week youth services programming assistant who focuses on reaching out to teens. The foundation also helps support staffing in terms of our Sunday hours being open Sundays. There have been a number of programs that the foundation has funded, from Harry Potter Day in pre-COVID, which attracted a large number of people to the library and a lot of different activities. Hearing Loops, the foundation was one of the generous donors for that. And then most recently, the foundation has funded a number of Wi-Fi hotspots that patrons can check out of the library, take them home, and use them and have access to the internet during that period. I'm Mark Trundle, and my library story is that libraries lift people up.
Thank you very much, Mark. We really do appreciate your library story. By the way, if you would like to support the work of the foundation, you can do so by texting SPLF to 5661. Okay, how'd you do on the first two trivia questions? Okay, get your paper and pencil ready. Here's two more for you tonight, more trivia.
Hello everyone, Governor Tim Walz here. This trivia question is for Stillwater history buffs. The first public library in Stillwater was established by a referendum of residents held in what year? Is it A, 1987, B, 1776, C, 1801, or D, 1897? Good luck, everyone, and thanks, Lee, for hosting this event in support of the Stillwater Public Library.
Hi, Stillwater Public Library. It's your favorite Jewish friend, Sarah Silverman, and I have a question for you. When did the Stillwater Library replace its card catalog with a computer catalog? Was it A, 1900, Rich, B, 1972, come on, C, 1989, they barely came out with the Commodore 500 by then. Or D, 2015, Stillwater, no.
Oh, she's great. Sarah Silverman. I love it. And thank you to Governor Tim Walz. I'm now pleased to introduce Sean Glazer, the Stillwater Public Library Foundation Board President. He is the Bank Service Director for First State Bank and lives in Stillwater, where he has his wife and his kids here in town. Sean is also a very active member of our community, and he's live with me tonight. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Hi, Lee. Thanks so much, and thanks for everything you're doing for us tonight.
Oh, it's nice to have you here. Okay, Sean, we all have a reason to support the library. And what is your story, your reason, and what made you join the board and become president of the foundation?
It's kind of funny. My story starts out as a young child. I mean, you said that yours, when you were just a little girl, you'd go down 3rd Street right to the library. I didn't live quite that close, but I remember my mom taking me to the library for story time, and then we got to check out books, and it was always amazing to go home and have all these fun books. As I grew up, I still love being able to check out books there, but then to have the resources to be able to do research projects and just to be able to do my projects for school to better my education, and just the resources of technology and everything else that the library is able to provide for the entire community.
Absolutely. Tell us about this is 2020. What an unbelievable year. Tell us about the challenges of COVID-19.
Yeah, so I mean, this year, like many organizations, we've had to move through challenges of COVID-19 that's brought to us. I mean, in March, we had to cancel Pi Day event, and I mean, sadly, we had to cancel Light a Spark as well. Really, it was really for the best interest of the entire community, though. And I mean, we love you guys, and we really rely on the funding of those events, though, particularly Light a Spark.
Absolutely. Tell us about the foundation itself. How did it begin and how does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, the foundation, I mean, it started a number of years ago, a little over 12 here. And in 2008, Dick Hulsman had the library had just completed the expansion and growing needs of the community, as Mark shared. Over the years, because of donor support, the foundation really has been proud to provide over $900,000 to support the Stillwater Public Library, enhancing materials, programs, service to the library. I mean, we could not accomplish this without the donors. I mean, they are just amazing. And because of donor support, we proudly funded things like hearing loops, a volunteer coordinator, as mentioned, portable Wi-Fi hotspots. That's amazing for the kids having to do schooling where if their parents can't afford internet capability at home, Sunday hours, and children programming. More recently, the board voted to expand our support by adding preservation of the historical building and grounds to our bylaws to maintain the integrity of a historic building and keeping it safe for the community as they come and go, and continue the legacy and learning and education of Andrew Carnegie that he started back with his gift of $27,500 so many years ago. We really are proud of the impact the foundation has made over the years, but we can't do it alone.
Yeah, that's true. And where does some of the additional support come from?
So, it really takes a community. The library is largely funded by the city of Stillwater, but it really does rely on the additional support of the foundation and its donors and community volunteers and board members. We also so appreciate additional support from the Friends of the Stillwater Public Library, an organization that also holds 2 annual book sales benefiting the library.
Absolutely. What's the future for the foundation? What are you guys talking about? What's coming up?
The foundation, I mean, we're always looking for ways that we can continue to support the library. And of course, this year, the way that we support looks drastically different than other years. We've mentioned the preservation of the building, but then the hotspots, I mean, patrons can check those out for 7 days. And there's even the ability to check out laptops for if you don't have access to that at home. I mean, everybody's trying to stay safe in the world of COVID that we live in these days.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you, Sean, for your leadership, and to the entire foundation board. We really appreciate everything you do. And thank you for being with me tonight. It's fun talking to you.
Thanks, Lee.
You bet. Okay, we have more library stories, and I want to introduce to you Rama Al-Yamani and her children, Jude and Noor, and their library story.
That there could be some books that I can try reading them.
Oh, nice.
Every time I go to the library, there's always something for me to do there.
There are a lot, especially I can't forget the librarian and assistants and their kindness with me, especially as an immigrant. They help me a lot to find what I'm looking for. They really show a lot of kindness, a lot of help. We used to attend a lot of events here, especially you used to do some for youth kids, some for little kids, so you have variety of events for all of us.
I only love reading about some stuff that I could maybe read.
I'm borrowing books from M.N. Lane via Stillwater Public Library, and I got those books, and I'm so happy to have books in my native language to read. As an immigrant who loves reading since I was a child, I found in Stillwater Public Library a great source for my passion. And while I don't have an extended family around, this library was a wonderful place for me, for my kids, that we've been going to all the time, and we have benefit of it for all of us.
My library story is when I first moved here. I loved the library immediately. There are so many fun activities to do here. There are toys to play with, there are mini scavenger hunts, and of course books. And yeah, there's a place for everyone in the library. Me and my siblings have enjoyed it very much, and my mom too.
And my library story is, it's a wonderful place that I can join it anytime and have fun for me, for my kids. It's our second home. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Jude, and now I love Stillwater Library so much.
Oh, he's so cute. And Rama, thank you so much. What an amazing family. Thank you for sharing your library story with us. Okay, already, if you missed it earlier, Phil from Modern Family did one of our trivia questions. Also, the mayor of Stillwater, the governor of Minnesota, Sarah Silverman. We got 2 more trivia questions for you right now. See if you can answer them.
Hello, Stillwater Public Library. This is Ira Glass speaking to you from my kitchen. I've put on some hair since this whole COVID situation. Anyway, I have a question for you. How many items were borrowed or downloaded from the Stillwater Library in 2019? Was it A, 1,503, B, 14,978, C, 102,656, or D, 372,483? Again, borrowed or downloaded. I don't even know what the answer is, but somehow I sense that will be key. All right, good luck with that.
Hello, this is Stillwater Area High School Principal Rob Bach, and I'm proud to share with you one of my favorite books. It's a book called My Losing Season, which is written by Pat Conroy, author of Prince of Tides and several other titles that you might recognize. It's kind of a coming-of-age memoir that outlines his experience as a college basketball player during his senior season at the Citadel. And what I appreciated about that book is that it really emphasizes the importance of relationships, not just on a team, but really in a person's life. With that, I'm happy to present your next question, which is this. How many programs did the Stillwater Public Library offer to the public in 2019? Is it A, 350, B, 99, C, 400, or D, 299? Good luck and go ponies.
Oh, the principal of the high school. Thank you, Rob. That was really cool. And thanks to all our special guest appearances giving us trivia questions tonight. Okay, Rich Sommer. We want to get to know Rich more and more every time we see him. He's working so hard out in LA. So have you ever wanted an opportunity to sit down with Rich and talk to him? Well, I'd like to welcome Spike Carlson, author and Stillwater Public Library trustee, who gets the opportunity to do that tonight. As an author, Spike has been writing about the world around us and stuff in it and how it works for over 25 years. He's written for Reader's Digest, Family Handyman magazine for 15 years, Star Tribune, Men's Health, The Wall Street Journal. The list goes on and on. Mother Earth News, Fine Home Building, and a number of other magazines as well. He's the author of the award-winning A Splintered History of Wood, which the mayor of Stillwater is reading, as well as Cabin Lessons, a construction memoir, and 4 other books. He's appeared on Modern Marvels, HGTV, CBS Early Show, and dozens of other radio and television programs. Let's listen as he sits down with Rich Sommer.
I'm Spike Carlson, and tonight I have the pleasure of interviewing a very special guest. He's been nominated 7 times for Screen Actor Guild Awards and won twice for his role as Harvey Crane in Mad Men. He has 68 credits as an actor, including roles in The Devil Wears Prada, Globe, Summer of '84, The Office, CSI, Grey's Anatomy, and The Simpsons. He's been nominated for 4 Gold Derby Awards, and he made his Broadway debut in the revival of Harvey, where he played quirky sanitarium orderly Dwayne Wilson. The list goes on and on. He grew up in Stillwater, Minnesota, close to the library, and was a frequent visitor growing up. He remains close to the library in mind and spirit. He went to Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota, where he earned his BA in theater, then to Case Western Reserve University for his MFA, and he studied improv at the Braden Workshop in Minneapolis. Upon learning the annual Light a Spark celebration was canceled, he reached out to the Stillwater Public Library Foundation and offered his help in organizing an entertaining virtual event, something he has done with aplomb. Please welcome our very special guest, Rich Sommer.
Hello, Spike.
Well, for starters, what made you reach out to the library after learning about the cancellation for the Light a Spark last July?
Well, I attended the Light a Spark event in 2019, and I also understood sort of its importance to the library in the amount of, frankly, the amount of money that it generates to help keep the library able to provide the events and the programming and the resources that it provides annually. And that event being canceled, I knew would probably put a little bit of a sting on the library. And places like library, this obviously 2020 is a strange year for all of us. And places like libraries are really taking a hit because they can't generate the sort of support that they ordinarily would get in a time like this. And not to mention that obviously the average American is also tightening up a little bit right now, and rightfully so. It's an odd time. So I figured this would be a way that perhaps we could try and at least approximate some feeling of that community that's built around the Light a Spark event.
That's great. We're so appreciative of you doing this. So I want to dip a little bit into your past. You were born in Ohio. What brought your family to Stillwater?
When I was 8 years old, in 1986, my dad was transferred. He worked at the time for Ecolab and was brought to Minnesota to start working in a different branch. And I mean, for me, it was something, of course, as an 8-year-old, having to move in the middle of third grade, it was terrifying. It was my first time on an airplane. It was my first time, maybe with the exception of Ocean City, Maryland, and to visit my aunt and uncle in Virginia. It was maybe my first time out of the state. So it was scary, but it ended up being fortuitous. It's where I found what I believe to be sort of my home. I definitely identify more as a Minnesotan than I do anywhere else.
So what's special to you about the Stillwater Public Library?
Well, it was always a part of my life. From right when we got into Stillwater, we sought it out. And in 1986, I don't know if people will remember this, the library was undergoing some renovations. So it was actually moved for a time to a building just behind, I think it was on 3rd Street. There was a brick building there where the guts of the library were sort of moved for a short time. So it was a while before I got to experience the actual Stillwater Library building. But we started going right away. That was one of the first things we did, was got our library cards. And I just felt, I got to know the librarians. I got to know the people who were working there. I ended up being on sort of the youth boards at the library, helping to plan programming for the area. And we went to church at Trinity. It was just down the street. It was just a natural place for me to hang out.
Yeah. Well, so what was your favorite book growing up?
Oh, goodness. What a good question. Actually, funny enough, I know Halloween is behind us now, but a book that I took out, I think I must have checked it out, I don't know, 15 times. And I think I was the only person checking it out. There was a book that, it's not a fiction book. It's how to build, I think it was called How to Build and Run a Financially Successful Haunted House. I had friends on Northland Avenue up in Croywood, and we would constantly try to build some sort of haunted event. And it was always using that book. It had an orange cover. I've since purchased a copy of that book, so I have it on my shelf now. I don't use it quite as often as I did then, but that's probably the book I checked out the most from the library.
So were you involved in high school drama?
I was, yeah. In 9th grade at Oakland, I really started sort of testing out the waters on the theater front. I had always done school plays. I did plays at Stonebridge and at Trinity and at Oakland Junior High. But that was, once I was in high school, that was really where I sort of started to fully indulge in theater. And it's why it carried me on to at Concordia studying theater and then going on to get my master's in acting.
Yeah, what was your favorite role?
Throughout or in high school?
In high school, yeah, just
in high school. In high school, I was fortunate enough to play Lieutenant Colonel Henry Braymore Blake in our stage retelling of the show MASH. And that I was nominated for Actor of the Year at Stillwater Area High School for that one. And that was a very exciting honor. So that one has always stayed up there for me. It was a funny, broad, silly role, and I enjoyed it.
Awesome. So, Rich, I talked with your confirmation teacher, Rich Melheim, and he said, and I quote, "Of all the kids I had in 40 years of youth ministry, Rich is the only one I could have murdered." However, he went on to say, "It's the kids with the most energy and imagination that get into trouble, and they often also make the best leaders." Can you help us understand that, those quotations or that observation?
Well, I can certainly help you with the former. I would have wanted to murder me too had I been an adult having to deal with an adolescent Rich Sommer. I was, a little noisy. I perhaps caused a bit of a ruckus. I wasn't the best student, either academically or theologically, I suppose. So it was definitely something that I could understand. As far as those being the kids who go on to perhaps make the most difference, I don't know. I think that there's something to be said for learning what it means to be sort of one of the noisy kids and seeing what sticks, seeing what can garner you positive reinforcement for those things and what can garner negative. And luckily, I over the years preferred the positive reinforcement. So that sort of started to guide me toward trying to use my powers for good.
That's great. So what inspired you to leave Minnesota and become an actor? I mean, it's something people dream of but don't often have the courage to do. What prompted you?
Well, the summer when I graduated from Concordia, I swore I was never going to go to graduate school. I said to my professor, David Winterstein at Concordia, "This is it. I'm done with school." And I moved to the Twin Cities, and I started, as you mentioned earlier, kind of working at the Brave New Workshop and trying to see if I could get cast in roles. And I quickly realized that being a professional actor in the Twin Cities is really difficult. To make your living from acting, it's really difficult. There are people who do it. There are actors still now working in Minnesota full time that I've been a fan of since I was in junior high and high school. But that is a really hard gig to crack. So for me, it was, I knew I needed more training if I wanted to become a professional actor. And I called that professor at Concordia and asked for some advice on finding the right graduate school. And he gave it to me. And I found Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. And that program sort of guides you toward a showcase in New York. So it felt as though that was the only appropriate place for me to go after graduate school, was to go to New York and sort of give it the old college try. My wife and I met in graduate school. She's from Mankato, and we went together and made a go of it. And it seems to, so far, have been the right choice for me.
Awesome. So in a previous interview, you said Mad Men was my final edition of the pilot season. It had been 3 miserable, horrible months where I had 0 callbacks, 0 positive reception. One of those pilot seasons that make you pretty sure you are never going to be an actor and never want to be an actor. And then that happened. So what was your audition for Mad Men like?
The initial audition was like any other audition I had done, especially, in that pilot season. It was, just go in, sign up on the sheet, read some lines, and go home. It had been 3 weeks, and I was pretty sure I was never going to hear from them again. And then I got a callback, which, like I said, in 2006 was my only callback that pilot season. I was really nervous, went in for the callback, saw a bunch of people in the waiting room that I recognized from movies and TV, and thought, well, there's just no point in my being here. Went and did the audition, and then basically decided to forget about it, knew that I was never going to hear anything. And then 2 weeks after that, got the call to come to the table read. So it was a pretty, it was, it was unassuming from the beginning, and then it became what it became.
And so what are you currently working on?
Well, Spike, it's a little tough these days. It's, film and TV entertainment, they're just sort of starting to get their legs back under them again. So I have, throughout the last, 6 to 8 months, been doing mostly voiceover things from my home, what things I could cobble together, a few scripted podcasts and a couple of video game voices just from my closet that I've sort of treated for sound. And then beyond that, there was a movie that I was supposed to do a few days on back in March that has sort of been punted to right now. So they are officially filming, and I don't know if I can really say what it is, but I'm really excited about it. I don't have a huge part; it's a small role, but in what will be a pretty big movie. So I'll tell you all about it when they give me the green light.
So you have 68 credits as an actor. Can you name one of your most memorable experiences?
Well, it's not exactly fair because, the entirety of 7 seasons of Mad Men is packed into just one of those 68 credits. So that, for me, of course, is, without that, I wouldn't probably be talking to you now. I might be attending this event, but I don't know that I would be the interviewed guest at the event. So Mad Men, obviously, aside from the fact that it was, received so well on the outside, on the inside, it was just an incredible experience with an incredible group of people with whom I'm still in contact. And it's there's just no comparing it. Getting to play a character, differently than I've ever gotten to play a character before. Ordinarily with a play, I get, the development of that character over 2 or maybe 3 acts. In this instance, this was the development of a character over in TV time, what was 10 years from 1960 to 1971. I guess that's 11 years. I was, as I said earlier, not a great student. Anyway, getting to see a character develop over those 11 sort of fictitious years was unique.
Awesome. So let's talk for a minute about kind of your personal life. Would you and your family ever consider moving back to Stillwater?
It's something we talk about quite literally almost daily. Especially these days, we're feeling the pull to be with our friends and family, and it's hard to sort of feel like we're isolated out here in Los Angeles, especially when I'm not working and the kids can't go to school. It's a strange time, but we are always looking at Minnesota as the place that we would like to end up. I don't know if we'll do it before the kids graduate from high school. Their roots are different than my wife's and my roots, obviously, but we talk about it all the time. It is absolutely our plan to move back there. Again, it may, our son, our youngest, is 10, so it may be 8 years or so, but absolutely the plan is for us to end up in Minnesota.
Yeah. So if one of your kids came to you and said they wanted to become an actor, what would you say?
Oh boy. Well, I suppose I would say, I get it. I understand why you would feel that way. I share that with you. But I would also perhaps encourage them to, just as I was encouraged, explore a little bit. I mean, the reason that I wanted to go to a college like Concordia was that it was a liberal arts college where I got little pieces of a ton of different disciplines. And it allowed me to really say, no, this is the thing that I want to do. This is the thing that I feel driven to do. But I was sure to sort of check every opportunity I could at other things that presented themselves, and I would hope that my kids would do the same. I wouldn't want them to choose this just because their mom and dad chose it. I would really want them to feel that this is what calls to them.
Huh. And so you're an avid gamer. We can tell that by your backdrop there. And you had a leading role in Firewatch, and you won an award for that. What's that compared to television and other movies? Is that a different experience?
Yeah, well, voicing a video game, Firewatch is a single player video game where you are the main character in the story, and I play the main character's voice. And it is different, and it's not different from any other acting opportunity. Obviously, it was different in the way that I did roughly half of those lines in a robe with a cup of coffee in my hand and not wearing a t-shirt. That was nice because I could just do it in my office at home. But as far as the connection with my coworker, Sissy Jones, who won a BAFTA award for her work in the role, we had a real sort of intimacy over those headphones. We recorded everything together. That isn't always the case. In a lot of video games, you're recording by yourself and playing against somebody who's, an engineer who's just sort of dryly reading the other lines, and you have to sort of work up your emotions. This was different. Sissy and I recorded our lines independently and then sent them to the studio, and we were able to sort of really find a connection that I think you wouldn't otherwise find in a game.
Interesting. So you once said, the amount of times my wife has rolled her eyes at board games is impossible to count. What's your favorite board game?
Oh, well, I have lots of favorites, Spike. I suppose it depends on what the event is. If we're having a party, or if we're having serious meaty gamers, or if I'm having a few people over that I want to teach a new one to. For me, my serious meaty game is one called Die Macher. It's from 1986. It's about the German election system. I'm pretty sure it takes 4 to 6 hours to play. It's not one that you'd want to go look for. But as far as things that are more accessible and pretty timely, actually, there's a game called Pandemic, which is a cooperative game where you and your friends are trying to fight off a pandemic. Some might hit a little close to home these days, but that's a good one if you're just looking to try a new game.
Do you play Scrabble?
I like Scrabble very much. Yes, I'm not good at it.
Can you name a 2-letter word that starts with Q?
I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it QI,
Yes,
I
yes.
believe, is a two-letter word that starts with
How
Q.
about a two-letter word that starts with Z?
Uh-oh. Za?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay,
All
good.
right. And a two-letter word that starts with J.
Joe?
Man, you are on it. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are you reading, listening, watching to these days?
Right now, I am sort of, maybe it's self punishment, but I'm reading The Stand again by Stephen King, which I read maybe 20 years ago at the recommendation of a college friend of mine. And of course, The Stand sort of begins in a way very like what we're enduring right now, sort of the spread of something that people can't name, this pandemic. Uh, it's it's hitting me differently than it did when I read it 20 years ago, I can tell you. But as far as what I'm watching, I am a bit of a horror movie fan. I just watched as many 80s horror movies as I could in chronological order. I watched over 6 weeks, I watched 59 horror movies because, again, what else am I doing? So I watched a lot of those. And listening to, there's a podcast that I really, really recommend. It has nothing to do with horror, which is good. It's called Dead Eyes, and it's hosted by an actor friend of mine named Connor Ratliff. And it's about how he was cast in a small role in Band of Brothers, the HBO miniseries about World War II. And Tom Hanks was directing the episode in which he was cast and ended up firing Connor because he had what Tom Hanks called dead eyes. And so this podcast is this exploration of what it is to be an actor who loses what is, a considerably sized job, a job that could definitely be a breakthrough role, and how it can mess with your psyche when you hear certain things. So it's very funny. I know it sounds like it could be depressing, and it's not all inside baseball. It's good for anybody who listens to podcasts, but something I would recommend. He describes it sort of as like the podcast Serial, except that the question at the center of it is deeply unimportant. So that's what I'd recommend. Dead Eyes is a good one.
That's great. So if you were going to go get a tattoo tomorrow, what would it say?
Whew. Well, I have 0 tattoos so far. My dad and brother got Cleveland Browns tattoos. We're fans of the Cleveland Browns. My dad grew up in Ohio and raised us on the Browns. So maybe that, but that still feels. I don't know. I guess I would maybe get one that says think. I don't know. I'm so terrified of getting a tattoo. I just, or maybe just a little board game, like a die. Maybe just a little die. That's what I'd do.
So, our interview here today is like roughly based on In the Actor Studio by James Lipton.
Mm-hmm.
And he always included a 10-point questionnaire by Bernard Pivot. And it's kind of a lightning round. And so I'm just going to throw out those 10 questions. So,
okay.
What's your favorite word?
The one that pops to mind, it's a lengthy one. It's pneumona ultramicroscopic silicobicandiconiosis. And the reason I say that one is my friend Matt and I spent what I remember being hours on the playground at Stonebridge drilling this word into our heads when we were in 5th grade because we'd heard it was the longest word in the dictionary. So that word again is pneumona ultramicroscopic silicobicandiconiosis.
Well, I almost hate to ask the second one. What's your least favorite word?
Oh, that one's a lot easier. Dentist.
What turns you on?
Play, just a sense of play.
What turns you off?
Fear.
What noise or sound do you love?
My kids singing.
What noise or sound do you hate?
The sound of silverware touching teeth. I can't do it. This thing is unacceptable in my house. You've got to use your lips. I can't handle it.
What's your favorite curse word? One that you can reveal to a PG audience.
I say I use the word farfignugan a lot to try and express frustration, or sacapuntas, which I believe is Spanish for pencil sharpener, but it sounds more malicious than it is.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
A teacher.
And what profession would you simply not like to do?
A space shuttle designer. The stakes are too high.
And the last question, this is what was always asked. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Could have been worse.
Okay. There's a few questions from the audience. And the first one is, how well did the cast of Mad Men get along off camera?
Very well, luckily for all of us. And in fact, we're all still in touch. We were really fortunate that it was such a strong group. I think part of it was that nobody was really that well known outside of the show in the beginning. With the exception of maybe John Slattery and January Jones, and a little bit Elizabeth Moss, maybe Christina Hedger. I mean, people had done some work, but nobody was really a household name at that point. And I think it helped to kind of go through that whole experience together.
And was there a single moment that inspired you to become an actor? I mean, or a person, or just an event?
Yeah, I guess inspired me to become an actor. I don't know, but I can say that one of the things that definitely inspired me to pursue acting was in 9th grade. Mrs. Halverson was my teacher at Oakland, then junior high. Now I believe it's Oakland Middle School, which is I will never wrap my head around. But Mrs. Halverson named me as Student of the Month for drama. And I had never been Student of the Month for anything. I was not a great student. I didn't earn Student of the Month in anything else, but it was sort of this feeling of encouragement that I had done something well enough or had worked hard enough to be recognized for it. And it also just happened to align with what I wanted. It was this thing I had just found as a real potential calling. It was homework I liked doing, and to be recognized for it was a real sort of kick in the pants. So I often cite Mrs. Halverson as sort of pushing me out of the nest with that one.
That's awesome. Heads up, all teachers. That's great. And so this program that you've helped organize this evening, it's kind of a variety show. And once you said, I can juggle, not well. I can balance a broom on my chin. I can do very simple card tricks. A little sleight of hand with cards and coins. If I were to ask you to do a trick right now or show some talent, what would it be?
Oh God, Spike, I don't know. You can't. We can't do that. You can't do this to me. I don't know. No, what talent I would. I can.
I think saying that word was great. That long word was awesome.
Yeah, that's my talent. There you go. Let's just replay that part.
So Rich, you've been an absolute delight. Thanks for taking the time to do this and help organizing this event for the love of the library. And what a joy to talk with you.
Thank you. Likewise, Spike. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
Isn't that great? It's so cool to see Rich. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of him. And I think he's got a lot of things coming up that is going to be pretty exciting. I have faith in him and his family, and maybe they will end up back in Stillwater someday. He couldn't find a magic trick, but I got some magic for you coming up here in just a second. Before we do that, let's watch another My Library story and play some more video, or trivia, I should say. Let's hear Spike Carlson's library story.
For 6 years, I've been on the Board of Trustees. It's kind of my thing. I just love the library, and the people on the board are great. When my first book, A Splintered History of Wood, came out, I was doing a tour of woodworking clubs, and I was down in Kansas City, and I gave a presentation, and then afterwards, usually, you peddle books and you sign them and you talk with people. And this kid, kind of rough around the edges, came up and he said, Mr. Carlson, I want you to know that A Splintered History of Wood is the only book I've read from cover to cover since grade school. As an author, that's just the stuff you love to hear, that you've made an impact on someone. And I told him, I'd be so honored to sign your book. And he said, oh, I didn't buy the book, I got it from the library. And the library gave him an opportunity, to learn more about it. And this is a room full of 60-year-old balding men. That's as in a woodworking club. And so this kid kind of stuck out, and then to hear his story was fabulous. So that was really as small an incident as it is. That was a big moment for me. And the thing is, there's a Kansas City kid in every city, and there's a Kansas City kid in Stillwater. And one thing this library does is it reaches those people and makes their lives better. I've actually worked on several books at the library. Well, there's been other projects going on at the house. I talked to the librarian, say, can I get one of those little rooms for a few hours? And the staff has always been really helpful with resources and information. So I have a lot of fond memories of that. But it's just such a gem. The staff has been so good working through all this. And Mark, he's another city treasure. Carrie's another city treasure. I mean, everyone who works here is a city treasure. So, and we really appreciate that. I'm Spike Carlson, and my library story really consists of there's so many different ways to give to the library. You can give your time, you can give your talents, you can give your finances. I'm a woodworker, so a lot of the stuff you see around here, I made. And everyone has talents, and everyone can give, and this evening's a great way to give, so.
Hey, Stillwater Public Library, this is Jenna Fisher, and I have a question for you. Approximately how many patrons attended programs by Stillwater Library in 2019? Was it A, 2,000, B, 5,000, C, 10,000, or D, 13,000?
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, John Hamm. I just have a quick question for you. I wanted to know how big the Stillwater Public Library is in square feet. It's multiple choice. You got a 1 in 4 shot. Is it A, 10,122 square feet? Is it B, 18,940 square feet? Is it C, 23,222 square feet? Or is it D, 38,680 square feet? Good luck.
Thank you, John Hamm. How fun is that? Him representing the Stillwater Public Library. You gotta love that. And Pam from The Office, Jenna Fisher. Oh my goodness, you gotta love that. And Spike Carlson, thank you for doing that interview with Rich, and thank you for your library story. Spike has just released a new book, A Walk Around the Block, Spotlight Secrets, mischievous, mischievous, you say it. I'll have to get it later, but it's about squirrels that are crazy. Manhole mysteries and other things you see every day. Mischievous. He is generously partnering with Valley Booksellers together for every one of his books purchased between today and the end of the month. They will donate $10 to the Stillwater Public Library Foundation. So thank you, Spike. Get his books, get on to Valley Booksellers for your generosity and support. We appreciate the bookseller and Spike for doing that. Okay, Brent, are you ready for some magic? We couldn't get Rich to do some magic, but Brent, he is in Los Angeles. Brent Garris, magician and owner of the Magic Apple in LA. I don't have to say mischievous, I don't think. Brent has been practicing magic since he was 8 years old. He performs close-up magic, stage shows, some mentalism. He's a regular performer and a magician member of the Magic Castle in Hollywood, California. In addition to performing, Brent currently consults on a variety of television shows and films. He's a friend of Rich Sommer. Brent, again, thank you so much. Are you on the phone there? But thanks for joining me.
I'm just talking to Rich. He bought a magic trick. Yeah, I gotta go. He bought a magic
He's got
trick.
one now.
Yeah, Rich didn't understand the instructions. He was trying to relate it to board games. And I said, the magic's a little different than board games, Rich. You're the pro in the board games. I'll help you with the instructions. Anyway. Hi, Lee. How's it going?
I'm great. You're going to do magic from LA for us. This is amazing.
All the way from LA. Yes, I'm gonna send you a quick little text message. Don't look at it just yet. But we're gonna try a little something with some playing cards in a moment, and I'm gonna send you this message, and we'll use that in a moment. And well, I know that Rich has been super into games, and for my whole life I've been trying to solve one of these Rubik's Cubes. And I thought it'd be fun because everybody's, taking more time to be home and things. I thought it'd be a great way to, I'm going to try to solve it. I'm going to try to, and over, I think the 7 months that we've been together in my house with my kids, I've never been able to solve one of these. But I don't, do you guys have Target in Minneapolis? Do you have Target?
It started here. It started here.
So the birthplace of Target, they sell, they have these little pencil boxes here, and if you buy this, it fits a Rubik's Cube perfectly. So if you buy one of these little pencil boxes, a mixed up Rubik's Cube fits inside perfectly, just like this, and magically when it drops back out, it's solved. It makes it so much easier to solve it than to try to learn how to do these magic tricks. So head to Target, guys, and get one of the Rubik's Cube solvers. Way easier than trying to learn how to do it. Well, I do have a little something to show you. I've created a little magic trick using some very famous authors that everybody, no matter where they're watching, will know of them. There's about 8 or 10 of each of them, Lee, and we're going to try. It's not really a magic trick. It's just kind of like an experiment. Look, well, there's Stephen King and John Grisham, Michael Crichton, Ernest Hemingway. There's a whole bunch of them. George R.R. Martin, Jane Austen. Hey, I carry a deck of cards with Jane Austen on the back. It's kind of cool. Edgar Allan Poe. You get the idea. A whole bunch of them, and these are in red ink. I've written them in red ink, Virginia Woolf, and then I did a lot of research, weeks and weeks of research, and I've come up with about 10 local Minneapolians. What's the word? Minneapolians?
People who live in Minneapolis.
People who live in Minneapolis
There you go.
from there. We have Vince Flynn.
I
Louis
love
Anderson.
Vince.
Yeah,
Louis.
Anderson. I didn't know that.
Kate, good friend of mine.
Oh my gosh! See, I didn't even know this. Laverne Spencer,
from Stillwater.
Maybe Laverne's watching. Lorna, who you had on earlier, that's awesome.
Love Lorna.
Her 8-year-old little girl voice was fantastic. We have Cheryl Strayed. Is that right? Maud Hart. We got Tim O'Brien, Ann Tyler, and Gary Poston. So we've got a list, kind of a big list of super duper worldwide well known, and although just as important, less known. And we're going to try a little something, Lee. I've got. We're going to call this the local list. Is going to go here. Okay. And the worldwide list, we'll start with the Virginia Woolf. We'll go here. Now, without looking, I'm not going to show you these names again. We're going to give this a shuffle, Lee. And without knowing, you're going to kind of use your Minneapolis intuition and let me know if you think, face down, should the card go in the local list or should it go in the worldwide list? So you could either say black or red or local, worldwide. You come up with your own words. We'll start with this one. Lee, is this one going to go in local or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Boom, just like that. It's as easy as that. It's so easy. This one, local or worldwide?
Local.
Local. That goes in this list. And I'll do it slowly. I'm not going to do anything sneaky. This is not one of these fancy steps. Local.
Local. Local. Worldwide.
Worldwide. Like Pitbull. You heard of Pitbull? They call him Mr. Worldwide. Local or worldwide?
Local.
Local, right here. We'll do a couple more. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 of them. One of them is local, and one of them is worldwide. Which one? We'll go with this. Is this one local or worldwide?
That's worldwide. The other one's local.
There's worldwide. There's local. Okay, very nice. How about
No idea.
One more. What about that one? Local or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Worldwide, baby. All right, now, some people out watching the show, and if they watch it later, they're going to think, well, this is kind of clever. But I bet Brent just told Lee where to go. Maybe you've got a cheat sheet in front of you, and you knew I was going to give you this many local and this many worldwide. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to start this local pile is now going to be the worldwide pile. And the worldwide pile we'll start off with Laverle. That'll be the local pile. But this time, look, I'm going to shuffle them up, and I'm not even going to look at them. So even if the people out there don't trust you and I, Lee, there's no way I could know which one's where, and there's no weird cameras. There's not a second monitor here. Lee, is this one local or worldwide?
Local.
Which is the new list right there, local or worldwide?
Worldwide.
What about that one?
Worldwide.
Worldwide again. What about that
Mischievous.
one?
Local.
Local over here. Okay, this one worldwide or local?
Local.
Local. All right. This one?
Worldwide.
Okay. We got 3 left. Is this one local or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Worldwide is over here. Oops, sorry, over here. We've got 2 left. I'm not even going to give you a hint. This one local or worldwide?
Local.
Local goes right there.
Worldwide.
This one's going to be worldwide. Now.
Yeah. Are we done?
We've done it all. We've done it all. The last one you said was actually, you got 1 so far, Edgar Allan Poe. Very nice.
Right.
So again, not so much a magic trick, but all of these in this little pile, you're saying are all worldwide. There's the Mark Twain. That's the one we started with.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh, look, Edgar Allan Poe. Very nice. Oh, here's Hemi. Wow, Lee, that's pretty good. That's like 5 for 5. Oh, that's like 6 for 6. Michael Crichton right there. Jane Austen. Wow. Geez, Lee, you nailed it. Wow. What?
Crazy.
Lee, come on. All right, and all of these, according to you, should be the local people here. We started with Maud and Gary Paulson.
Gary.
That's local. Oh my gosh, Lorna, we had on. That's local.
Louis.
Lee, come on. Are you kidding me?
Tim O'Brien? Gotta be
That is
kidding.
insane. That is crazy. Look, there's I dropped him. Sorry. There's Virginia Woolf right there. And this one is George R.R. Martin. And you got J.K. Rowling. You got Jean Hogarth, Royal Road. You got John Grisham. And let's see, there's Laverle. And there's Cheryl. There's Ann Tyler. There's Kate Vince, you did it, Lee. You sorted all of them. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you. Tip your waiters and waitresses before you leave.
Maybe you should be the one doing the magic here.
That's crazy.
Well, I thought since it's a library themed show, I have instead of authors this time, we're just going to do with 4. I've got something with 4 books here: Game of Thrones, Phantom Toll Booth. My daughter's reading that right now. Moby Dick, classic. Did you know? That's where the Starbucks logo came from. Was this book? Did you know that? Is that from Minneapolis too?
Caribou.
and Little Women. 4 books.
Little Women. Okay.
Heard of them all, and I've got a little board here, and I'm going to mix these up so there's no way don't know where any of them are, Lee. Now you're going to get to decide. Each one of these are going to go in one of here. So this first one should go in
3.
1. Oh, just like that. All right. 3.
Yep.
3. Get in there. Hold on. There we go. 3. What about the next one on the table?
1.
1 right here. Yes, yes, yes.
And then let's go 4 and 2.
4 here. Now, before we continue, Lee, do you want to switch any of these around? Or are you happy with where they are?
I'm really good about where they are. Thank you.
Pretty excited. Okay, cool. Well, here I've got a little prediction right here. The book prediction right there.
Okay.
This will never leave your sight. That says book prediction. That'll sit right there the entire time. Now for the big decision. You've decided where they go. Name any one of those numbers: 1, 2, 3, or 4.
3.
3. Very slowly. We've got Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Now, even though I took this out before this even started, you had 4 choices. If you're ready for this, Lee. Nothing else inside the envelope. Not one of those magic-y envelopes. This one says, game.
Stop it.
Oh, no. It doesn't actually say it. It says, Lee, check your cell phone. Remember that text message I sent you earlier? Can you pull up that text message?
No way.
What the text message? Can you maybe put that close to your screen?
Look at
Can we all see what that says? There it is.
Game of Thrones. It's a picture of him. How did you? What the? How?
Well, I was so sure, Lee, that you're gonna choose that one. That I have. I'm gonna do some watching some stuff later on today. If you can see,
That's crazy.
And I've got the Game of Thrones on. And by the way, I had my table was a little wobbly earlier. I don't know if you noticed, my magic table was a little wobbly, and I've got I had to level it out because I had some wobbly tables, so I just leveled it out with Game of Thrones DVDs. And there you go, Lee. You did it. You nailed it. You got the right book. You got the right level of magic for you. Fantastic.
That is so good. That is so good. No wonder Rich loves hanging out with you on Los Angeles. That is cool.
Cool. And I did hear him say there's a chance he's moving back to Stillwater, so I don't know who's going to come and buy all the magic tricks. So hopefully, maybe I'll just ship them to him from now on.
Okay. Well, I hope you can come and visit us. I'll take you down to PD Pappy's.
Yes, I've heard
There
that.
you go.
I know. We go to a Vikings game. Oh my
There
gosh,
you go. Well, we can't do that. We probably can't. Yeah, we'll have to just, we'll figure it out.
One day
someday.
in the future. One day in the far future.
Exactly. Brent Garris, everybody. Isn't he great? He is awesome. The magic. Give us a plug for your
The Magic Apple, yeah, it's my magic shop called The Magic Apple. I'm here in Studio City, California, and I've been here 17 years, and it's been great. There's always new products. I've got to meet everybody like Rich and you lovely people. It's been so fun to do it.
All right. Thank you, Brent. It's been a
Thanks.
pleasure to have you on. That's so cool.
Thank you
The
so much.
Magic Apple in Studio City. If you get a chance, make sure you stop on by. Okay. Are you ready to hear another story and play some more trivia here? We want to welcome Ann Wolf, past Stillwater Public Foundation president. She served many roles on the foundation board from 2008 to 2019. She's a good friend of mine, helping build the foundation to what it is today.
It began before my time. Actually, Dick Hulsman was president of the trustees at that time, and he and Lynn Bertelmio, the director at that time, decided we've got this new big building. We need to be really strategic and purposeful about raising money. And so they had applied for a 501c3. And then I came on the trustees about that time. Dick died, unfortunately. I replaced him, actually, and got to be one of the first people on the foundation board. I got a lot of the jobs in the beginning because I was the only one wasn't working. The Hulsman Foundation was right there the first year giving the seed money to get it going. They've been instrumental every year. The event is always in memory of Dick Hulsman and his contributions. We had our first board meeting in January 2008, and that was the beginning of big economic recession. So now we're in a pandemic. The bookends of the Library Foundation are times of hardship, personal and economic hardship and devastation, at times when people need their library more than ever, times when the library needs its donors more than ever. And what an honor and a pleasure working with those talented, otherwise really busy people who are so committed to the library for so many different reasons, but all for the same reason, because of the tremendous benefit to the community. So I just want to take this opportunity to say to donors, thank you again for sending gifts every year, every month. Those donations, they provided opportunities and materials that otherwise wouldn't have happened. The library is a lamp, a ladder, a life raft, and thanks to all the donors for making it so. A library outranks any other one thing that a community can do to benefit its people.
I'm Belinda Jensen from Carol 11. Thanks for letting me be a part of this. You know what? For the Stillwater Library, this fundraiser, lots of fun. Okay, here's your question. The 4th of July fundraiser that's on the terrace, what is it called? A, Books and Booms. B, Light and Sparks. C, Firecrackers. Or D, Reading Books is Fun.
Hello, Stillwater Public Library. I'm Weird Al Yankovic, and I have a question for you. Which contactless library service has become a favorite during these strange times? A, drone delivery by air. B, curbside pickup. C, using homing pigeons to answer reference questions. Or D, reading books telepathically.
Weird Al Yankovic, along with Belinda Jensen. That is so fun. Okay, get those trivia answers ready. We'll check them here in just a little bit. I'd like to introduce our final My Library Story segment that features Lori Houston, Stillwater Public Library librarian. A common theme we've heard tonight is the love of the library that everyone shares because of everything it offers, including its very special staff. As a librarian, Lori shares what a library and its patrons mean to her.
I love everything about the library. I love coming here and seeing all the patrons from babies to 100-year-olds and coming to work every day with my coworkers and knowing the importance the library plays in our community. I think right now it's providing the curbside service too, and they leave notes on the table downstairs and treats, and a family sent flowers and said thank you for keeping us safe and comfortable and happy through this whole pandemic. So this is one of my favorite memories. It's an angel from Marilyn Gelhard. She was an enriched English teacher here at the high school, and it says, I have always imagined paradise will be a kind of library. And I look back over all the decades of the patrons that we have been fortunate to have here, and all the children growing up that we have been able to serve. So just all my special patrons. I want them to be able to say, I feel like I came back home. We had a patron that told us when we were closing in March, she pulled over on 3rd Street and started to cry and said, what if I never can go back in again? And some of our patrons have grown up here and been here their whole lives. And it feels like a place that's welcoming, and they can go home with hours of joy. Over my career here, to make sure to, if at all possible, to greet each person. It's very hard right now with plexiglass and masks, but just to smile at them and let them know that we are all here to help them, and we want them to enjoy every part of the library that their taxpayers' dollars are supporting, and we want to provide everything possible to make it worthwhile for them to be here and feel happy when they go. Right now, I am telling everyone to be patient and kind and flexible, and most of all, enjoy every day here. I was blessed with the most wonderful people at City Hall also, and Harry Peterson was our mayor, and he retired, and his family gave me a beautiful gift of a thank you note from him, and he wasn't able to see anymore and to enjoy books, and we helped him find spoken compact discs. And when I look back at all the thank you notes that people have written to us, that now I realize that how hard it would be to come in the library and say, I can't see anymore, I can't see the large print anymore, now what can I do? And just the gratitude I see of our patrons. They were our mayors, and then they came here even after they retired, and we were able to help them. I'm Lori Houston, and my library story is 41 years of being blessed to be here full-time and all the wonderful people I've met along the way.
She is such a good friend. Thank you, Lori Houston. Thank you very much. And it's so good. She helped me so much. Max would lose his library card and she'd print me up another one and said, don't lose this one. He's doing pretty well at that. Max is my son. Okay, we're going to introduce to you a musician, composer, and speaker. You know him, Billy McLaughlin, who you can sometimes catch playing here in the Valley, is a lifelong Minnesota resident, and is recognized internationally as a world-class guitarist, Emmy award-winning composer, and inspirational keynote speaker who has appeared on Billboard's Top 10 chart. Enjoy Billy McLaughlin.
Hi everyone, Billy McLaughlin here, very excited and proud to be part of the second annual For the Love of the Library. If it weren't for the library, I never would have gotten the little book about how to teach yourself to play the guitar. So here's a little music for the love of the library.
Billy McLaughlin, how fun is that? Thank you, Billy, and thank you for donating your time. Okay, now it's time to thank you for joining us tonight. But before we go, let's check the answers to our trivia game. There they are right there. Did you get them right? I hope you did. I want to thank Ty Burrell and Belinda Jensen, the governor, John Hamm, Jenna Fisher. Oh my gosh, the people on this show tonight supporting the Stillwater Public Library Foundation is amazing. And thank you for attending. I want to remind you to donate by texting SPLF to 56651. Okay, SPLF to 56651, or visiting the donation page in the portal. Okay, and visit the Kids Zone to see Jeffrey Payne, the 3M visiting wizard. You can share the event portal we can share all this stuff with everybody, by the way, after it's done, because this is going to be available for the next 30 days. If you'd like to watch it again, and like I said, share it with others. And boy, this has been really a fun time. Like I said, it's cool to see those big Hollywood stars even talk about the Stillwater Public Library. I want to thank Rich Sommer and also the magician Brent. Isn't he great? And Sean, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an awesome night.
Well, we did it. Thank you for joining us for the love of the library. I especially want to thank Lee Valsvik for all of her work tonight, and for the work of everybody who came and played, for visiting with us, and for you for watching. If you haven't yet had the chance to donate, please take a moment and head to our donations page to help support the Stillwater Public Library. On behalf of the library, I want to thank you for being here. It's important to continue fostering community, especially maybe in these weird times. So thank you for being here. I'm Rich Sommer. I can't wait to see you in person again, and have a great night.